I think company secrets would be something of what the company intended to do.
Okay.
What the company's business strategy was, something like that.
Okay.
So so in a case like a fight breaks out in the locker room, that's not a company secret, bro.
What's going on, everybody? This is Dr. Chris Featherstone. We also have Vince Russo, former WCW World Heavyweight Champion, former WWE head writer. We also have EC3, two-time TNA World Heavyweight Champion, one-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion, and also OVW National Heavyweight Champion. He is a man of gold. You might as well call him.
My golden god, as Dennis Reynolds and EC3 would say.
There you
Very
go.
nice.
Actually, it's lowercase g. Let's not get crazy. All right.
There you go.
Demi. I'm more of a demi than a full G. That would be absurd. There's only one.
There's only one, man. I appreciate the respect there for my faith.
Well, then it's ours, and also let's look at the facts here.
Well, ours. It's good to hear that too.
Yeah. January 13th, I have to fight the indie god, and he capitalizes that, so that deeply offends me. But that's the least of the offenses Matthew Cardona puts a gun on me. But as you know, we're having the ultimate match of death. Not a death match, but the ultimate match of death.
Yes.
January 13th in Fort Lauderdale, Florida for the NWA.
Very nice. Great plug. I love the play on words there. I think I've said this before. It's similar to Matt Hardy calling the Young Bucks the Bucks of Youth. I think that's hilarious. So
I did a podcast. We did a Breaking Down the Broken Universe, and Matt had me on. And that was like a WrestleCade. And we just spent an hour talking about it. And man, that ruled. There's so much good stuff that I forgot about. He remembers everything too, which shocks me, which I can't remember a thing. But man, what a creative guy. Love
Matt
him.
Hardy's a brilliant mind. Yes, brilliant. All right. Well, matter of fact, before we go that, Broken Matt was around during your TNA run, wasn't he?
I am how Broken Matt came to be. I'm the one that broke
right.
him.
Yeah, you are the one that broke him. Yeah.
Very nice.
Because he was a baby face, and then you broke him.
Yeah, I broke him. I kept beating him as a heel. Then we kind of we had a really good double turn, which you don't really see anymore. So we had this big double turn where he was kind of big money Matt, but then he lost the title again.
Yeah.
Then he became broken, and next thing you know, we're off to the races. He's threatening to eat my cats. I mean,
Yes.
God, that's so much.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh,
fresh in my memory there.
That's one of those things too. Everyone said, "Don't do it. It's stupid. It's dumb." Even when he did it, people this is idiotic. This is stupid. But commitment to who you are and what you want to do yields great results. So stay true to yourself. Hashtag EC3 said that. There you go.
Very nice.
Broken Matt was an amazing shot of life in the Matt Hardy brand character. And even got to the point of bringing Jeff Hardy in the mix, and he was Brother Nero, and that was fantastic, man. So
I remember Will-O-the-Wisp.
Will-O-the-Wisp, yes, I remember that. And I remember the what was the compound matches called that they had? Compound.
Final Deletion.
Yes, Final Deletion. Yes, the Hardy compound. It was fantastic, very theatrical, very good. And it really, to me, it seems like it really spawned a lot of the theatrics. I know that if I'm not mistaken, Corgan had a lot to do with that as far as just the mind. Yeah, and that working, multiple times they did it in TNA. Then they did the New Day versus the Wyatt family in WWE with that type of theme. And of course we saw Taker versus AJ Styles.
Boneyard was cool. I like the Boneyard.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do think too, when you get like what made the final deletion so unique is they were homemade. They were like no budget. Everybody putting them together, the grind, the
Yeah.
blood, sweat, and the tears, staying up all night. And then when
Yeah.
you try those in the bigger places, now you have finances available. There's a budget. There's catering. There's things that just take away some of the heart that's behind it. So
Yeah, indeed. And then the kind of raw, type of authentic, version of it. We saw that with the Hardy. So it was great.
Listened to a podcast with I think it was Robert Greene and Rick Rubin. I don't know why they were talking about Darren Aronofsky. Is that the name? I'm sorry. But like he did the wrestler and like Black Swan, but when he came out of the scene, he did Pie with no budget, and it was like super successful. He did a second movie that was super successful, no budget. Third movie he had a budget, and it bombed. It's just like sometimes those things that you don't have are what make you stand out and be great in certain aspects. So.
Yes, indeed. I wonder what the budget of Napoleon Dynamite was. It's another one. It was just it became a cult classic, man. But it looked low budget, but it was fantastic. $400,000 was the budget for it.
Jeez.
I remember seeing that in the
Gross
theater.
almost $45 million with a $400,000 budget.
I saw that in the theater, and the place was packed.
Yes. Talk about profit, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's talk about Chris Jericho. He got into a fight with CM Punk's lawyer. So,
we got into a fight.
So it was a verbal exchange. So this was interesting. I did follow this throughout the week. So, okay, so this starts off with Jericho saying, talk about an NDA. So he said that so there on Web is Jericho, his site. Vince, you wrote there for a while, right? You did columns there for a while. So on his site, it said, the story was CM Punk and Ace Steel's lawyer reveals only one person involved in brawl out without an NDA. All right. So Jericho quote tweets that and says, "I didn't sign one." So Steve knew, which is an attorney, and Steve knew is Punk's lawyer. He says it's in your employee handbook unless you have a special one. We can figure it out. So he takes a jab at Jericho on X. And so this leads to Jericho going in on him. He says, "Hey, Steven New, I don't adhere to an employee handbook and have never had one in 4 years of working for AEW. I have also never signed an NDA in my life, ever. So stop trying to be a bully and making egotistical fantasy brags for your clients and start doing some research before you make blanket statements about your buddies. Because I saw everything that night, including how Lucy and her husband and best buddy acted and what really went down. And since I was in the room and watching her and everybody else the whole time, I know exactly what really happened. And considering you weren't there as I was, maybe you should shut your Mark A up, because what really went down was disgusting."
Oh, no.
And so Steve New responds, "Thank you, Chris. We were just attached this tweet as Exhibit A. Merry Christmas." And Cornette actually went in on Jericho too because of this. So yeah. So I mean, the floor is open for comments on this.
Well, what really happened, I still don't know. What I do know is this reminds me of the scene in Major League where Roger Dorn keeps like duffing grounders. Lou Brown starts, to find him. And then Roger Dorn runs up with his contract in his hand. And he says, "I don't need to take any unnecessary risks. It says it right here in my contract." And Lou Brown, the coach, takes it and he drops it. He drops his drawers. And he takes a leak on it. That's just kind of the vision I have with
Sure.
Jericho and an NDA. So, I
Yes.
mean, legalities in the realm of Twix or Xer. I don't know which is better for the Twitter X combo.
Yeah.
Twix, go with Twix.
Twix. Yeah, I've said Twix
I
before.
don't know. It doesn't seem completely feasible.
Xer.
It doesn't seem like the best course of
Twitter.
Twitter's fine.
Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, if Exhibit A has been secured, then I guess, a case can be built. But
Yeah.
honestly, seems a little ridiculous.
So should I add Cornette's take on this? What he said about this? So, so Cornette. I didn't know that Cornette. I mean, I didn't know that Cornette and Jericho had anything worth Cornette chiming in the way that he did with Jericho, which was he went in on him. He said, "God, Chris, it's X-Men. Slap Tony's D out of your mouth. You've got his dad's money the next 10 years, and the Buckaroos will still let you play with the cool kids. You don't have to tell the truth. Just quit lying. Punk is sorry he made a difference in AEW business, and you haven't." Wow. So, Vince Russo, your take on this as well as Cornette's comments.
Bro, something very interesting. I know that every contract I ever signed in professional wrestling with 3 companies, every one of them had a built-in DNA. Every one of them, bro. You cannot talk about what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. You cannot talk about any company secrets. So like I'm thinking, bro, there was an NDA, WWE, TNA, WCW. They're in wrestling contracts. So either one of 2 things happened. Either Chris didn't realize there actually was an NDA in his contract, or Tony Khan didn't put NDAs in the contract, which is very, very, very possible, bro, because Tony, he happens to find out things after the fact. But I could tell you, bro, every contract I ever signed, there was a built-in NDA, especially at the WWE.
So Jericho was there from 99 to a few years back, almost 20 years. So he wasn't aware in nearly 20 years that he had an NDA.
I mean, you were aware of that, right, bro?
I mean, I'll be honest. When we're signed to developmental deals and low-end NXT contracts, we aren't necessarily consulting our attorneys and
yeah, right. But it's in there. I promise you it's in there.
I read it, but I've also read, the encyclopedia, and I don't retain very much of it. So I can't say for sure. I don't know to what extent the NDA would apply, though it does seem people do discuss things that have happened to them. I mean, podcasts and interviews and things like that. You've never been legally threatened for telling your story, whether you're lying out your teeth or you're completely honest.
But they would use the term. They would use the term though, company secrets.
Perhaps.
So what does that consist of?
I
So
guess,
it's say, for instance, like a Maven, he has his own podcast. Like he's breaking the fourth wall.
I think company secrets would be something of what the company intended to do.
Okay.
What the company's business strategy was. Something like that.
Okay.
So in a case like a fight breaks out in the locker room, that's not a company secret, bro.
Okay. So he would be able to legally discuss what happened if he wanted to.
Yeah. Company secrets.
Gotcha.